Dallas Cowboys. They had to address that defense that was bottom 3 in the league in yards allowed last year, and they did just that. First moving up a spot thanks to Miami to select Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State with the 11th pick. And then the Cowboys moved down from 20 to 23 to select UCF edge rusher Malachi Lawrence for their second first-round pick last night. So the Cowboys draft a safety and an edge rusher. We'll go to you here, Rye. How much better did Dallas get last night, specifically on the defensive side of the ball?
The Dallas Cowboys got exponentially better. And for everything we say about Jerry Jones and the Jones family and the way the Dallas Cowboys have functioned over the last 30 years, they get this night right very often. There was a sort of thought that they could go into this night trying to replace George Pickens right now because you knew he would be on the franchise tag. You thought maybe that you could trade him. Caleb Downs was one of the widely considered best players in this draft. And as he continues to fall down the draft, they get an opportunity to pick him and then move back in the draft and get Malachi Lawrence. Caleb Downs has, in my opinion, the highest floor of any player. He's going to immediately make you a better team from a communication standpoint, from an anticipatory standpoint. And now paired with Christian Parker, the way he likes to roll those two high safeties down into the box, he makes an immediate impact. And Malachi Lawrence, who in my opinion is still growing, we're talking about a dude that ran 4.52, an incredible 10-yard split, production in the backfield, 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. This was what they needed to do. And what I love the most about this pick is they didn't go for need. They didn't go to try to answer questions about what they said in the press conference. They allowed new defensive coordinator Christian Parker to have 2 possible linchpin pieces to his defense after coming over from Philadelphia. This was an absolute home run first round for the Dallas Cowboys.
Dan?
Nick Saban loves and raves about Caleb Downs. Daniel Jeremiah and Chris Long love and rave about Malachi Lawrence. I'm good with that. I want to be like all in with the Cowboys right now. I really do after last night. RC, Stephen A, Shay, my only hesitation is I still feel there's a little bit of what's going to happen with George Pickens. Because if you tell me that there's no doubt about it, Pickens is there for the Cowboys this year because he signed his franchise tag, I'm like, yo, this team's got a chance now. This team's got a legit chance to matter next season. But because he signed the tag, I would be surprised if he plays on it. I would be, but who knows? Because I'm like, okay, is he gonna be there? Are they going to try and move him after the press conference? Is somebody going to call and try and trade for a George Pickens and see if they can acquire him and the Cowboys draft a receiver tonight or over this week? That's my only hesitation right now. After last night, I love it, but I just, there's a little bit of like, what is exactly going on with George Pickens and the Cowboys?
No disagreement here, but I'm going to be a bit more cautious than the both of you, and I'm going to defer to you because we're talking about a kid that just got drafted, that's an absolute stud, and I'm not going to joke around about the black cat running around that franchise because I don't wish that on him or anybody. Let's be serious for a second here, fellas, and I'm going to defer to the both of y'all in all seriousness when I bring this up. Since this dude rolled on the college football in 2023 at Alabama, he was considered arguably the best safety in football. Nobody's had any questions about his ability. There have been questions, however, about his health because of the knee issue, because of the meniscus stuff, and then you've got people asking those questions. Plus, he didn't necessarily work out. You didn't test him enough, that kind of stuff. The kind of things that we hear about the cautious, the measures that they take to ensure you passing your physicals, you're in complete health, you're ready to roll, et cetera, et cetera. These are the kind of things that they're saying did not occur with him. I don't know. I only know what I read, okay, and what I saw people like y'all say. So I'm asking the question. We're not questioning his ability, but his health seems to be a question mark. You can't knock the Dallas Cowboys for taking the chance on him because everybody's been raving about him. And we hope and pray that this brother's healthy because we know what he can do on the football field. He picks things up quickly. He can run you down. He's one of the elite, arguably the elite safety in all of college football. First at Alabama, then at Ohio State. Everybody's been raving about him. But when I'm hearing questions about meniscus, and I'm hearing questions about your knees. I'm hearing questions about your health coming into the draft, and there's no evidence that he's 100% healthy other than his word. Is that not a reason to be cautious? I'm asking.
Right.
Well, I'm not a doctor. Also did not sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, but I did speak with Caleb immediately when I heard the news about what was said about his knee after the combine. I texted him right away. We actually talk pretty often, and he said he went through all the checks. He talked to different doctors from different teams. His agent checked them with them as well, and he had a clean bill of health. Now, I compared him to Bob Sanders. I don't know if you guys remember the Defensive Player of the Year from the Indianapolis Colts, helped that team win the Super Bowl. Bob Sanders was here for a good time, not a long time. And there were injury concerns about him as well. But when he was at the top of his game, when he was able to give you top-level play, he was on par with the Troy Palomalus and with the Ed Reeds, although playing a different style. That's what you have to expect from Caleb Downs. You're not going to have to wait on him. This isn't going to be a project. This isn't going to be a guy that has to progress or you have to go through a process of getting him on the field. The day he walks into the building and OTA starts, he should be the starting safety for the Dallas Cowboys. He should be running the show for them the same way he did for Nick Saban at Alabama as a true freshman who was a freshman All-American.
Okay, so that means an immediate upgrade on the defensive side of the ball. It's the first time the Cowboys have drafted multiple defenders in the first round since 2005 when they drafted Marcus Spears and DeMarcus Ware.
Pickens plans to sign his franchise tag tender. This will guarantee Pickens makes $27.3 million this season. He'll report to the mandatory minicamp in June and training camp or be subject to fines. That is if he's still on the team, because we have draft night 2 coming. Draft night 3 tomorrow here in Graz. You're looking at me right now with Pickens signing this franchise tag. It opens up a lot of options here for the Cowboys.
Right. It means they can trade him if they want to. I think when it happened right before the draft, when Adam Schefter reported right before the draft, a lot of people reacted like, oh, does this mean they're trading him tonight? Obviously, they did not do that. One potential outcome here is that George Pickens has made his peace with the franchise tag and is going to show up and play. Like, we exclude that from all the possibilities, but it is one. So, they can be nimble. Look, they don't have a second-round pick. They don't pick in the third round till very late. So they have one pick tonight. Then they have 3 fourth-rounders. They can they'll build out their depth. And I think what they really like to do is look at the trade market. And I'm not necessarily talking about flipping Pickens for somebody, but doing something like they did to get Pickens after last year's draft, to get maybe a linebacker from another team or something like that. So Cowboys are playing the game they like to play, which is that player acquisition phase is 12 months a year, and we can do a lot of different things. But yeah, Pickens, they're saying they don't have plans to trade him. They were saying the same thing about Micah Parsons this time last year. Circumstances can change, but I think their hope is he shows up and plays on the tag.
And they got Pickens for a third-round pick,
did.
And that's why they're not picking later on today in that third round. Schrager, I want you to weigh in on what the Cowboys did in the first round with 2 defensive guys.
They have a new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, who you know quite well, Kevin, because he was the defensive backs coach with the Eagles. And he had a big voice in helping with their board with Will McClay and Stephen Jones and, of course, that front office and Jerry at the top of it. Caleb Downs was a guy they absolutely loved, and not just because of what he does on the field, because of the stuff up top, the mental intellect, the above the neck. This guy is a coach on the field, and for a defense that is so ailing with just players and performance and smarts, they immediately get a guy who can get out there and direct the defense in year 1, which is unique, extremely high IQ. They also loved Malachi Lawrence, and they didn't have to mortgage their entire future or move up big to get him. They sit pretty at 12. They move up a little bit to 11 to get Caleb Downs, and they also get Malachi Lawrence. I started the show saying that the Jets won the draft, but gosh, Dallas is feeling good about themselves this morning. They got 2 immediate players that can help. The comparison for Malachi Lawrence is actually Josh Sweat, who you're like, all right, I guess that's okay. Josh Sweat is an athletic freak with plenty of upside and just got paid by the Arizona Cardinals. Cowboys are thrilled. They got 2 contributors on defense, an area they desperately needed.
Ask the Chiefs about Josh Sweat. He was dominant in that Super Bowl. Maybe some thought he should have won the MVP. Your thoughts here specifically with Caleb Downs, because he's just not a normal safety.
No, I covered him a lot. I covered the SEC almost exclusively for college football. I was there his first spring on campus. Kevin Steele, the defense coordinator at the time, raved about him. Nick Saban says he's one of the smartest guys he has ever coached. He played under Nick Saban and Matt Patricia. You think he's NFL ready to be able to step in? And what I love is we showed some highlights earlier, and Nick was talking about, filling the void of they need somebody that can shore up tackling in the run game. Time and time again on these highlights, when you watch his tape, he flashes at the line of scrimmage and behind the line of scrimmage. Why? Because he's so intelligent. He diagnoses so quickly that he can meet a running back in the hole because he's already expecting it to come, sees it, and attacks it right away. Tackling will be better. Leadership will be better. I'll be interested to see how they use him, but instantly got the best pure football player in the draft at 12. That's great value.
And Nika, why don't you jump in here? Your final word as our defensive guy.
Yeah, I think that his positional flexibility is not something that comes up much, but I do think we have to take into account that he might also be like the big nickel for them. He's an incredible tackler. He's not as big as, let's say, Chris or Nicky Minwari, who's the flavor of the month as far as big nickel is concerned, but he's just as physical, and he'd be great in that spot. And I think that we know anyone who's been following football recently understands that explosive plays are kind of the biggest currency. And while you need your offense to create explosive plays, and Dak Prescott will do that, you need your defense to eliminate the explosive plays. The Cowboys were terrible at that last year, and I think that downs will show up and the explosive plays will go down immediately. It's not a stat that's easy to track, but he will have that impact, and it'll change the complexion of that defense on day one.
You know what? A stat that's easy to track? Missed tackles. And there were a lot of them from the Cowboys. And one thing we did not see Caleb Downs do is miss a lot of tackles. And that's a dream for a cornerback. I'm sure Neek knows that and understands that. All right.